everyone. Welcome back. We are going to be doing robots today, and these are going to be lots of fun because you guys will have all kinds of artistic leeway, right? You can kind of pick and choose your shapes that you want, what you want to do with your robot. So I'll give you some general guidelines, and then you just kind of create your own. Alright, so we are going to want a white piece of paper, a pencil with an eraser. I like to use like a black marker for outlining, but in the end I ended up just outlining with my black oil pastel, so you don't have to use that. And I used oil pastels, which fell down over here. So you don't have to use oil pastels. We just haven't used them super often. Excuse me. We haven't used them very often this year, so I just thought it could be fun. If you don't have your oil pastels, you could definitely do this with crayons or markers. You could use colored pencils. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to start out with drawing my robot. I'm going to use this marker so you guys can see it, because a lot of times when I draw with pencil, what happens is the computer doesn't really pick that up and it's hard to see. So I'm going to use my marker so you guys can see, but you'll want to use your pencil. Okay, so what I like to do is I'm going to start out with the head of my robot. If we wanted to, if this is halfway up the page, we want it to be somewhere up here in the upper half, so we have room for the rest of the robot. Okay, and then I like to figure out what shape it needs to be. So is it going to be this is a trapezoid, kind of like a rectangle, but longer on one side than the other. Right? Is it going to be a circle, a square, triangle, diamond? All right, what shape? So I think I'm just going to do a standard square for mine, or a rectangle. I'm going to do a rectangle. There we go. Okay, and then you can decide, do you want to give it an antenna? You could do antennas on the top, on the sides. You could do 1, you could do 2, or 5. I think I'm going to give mine an antenna on the top and then some ears. Let's see, I'm going to do like a C for my ears. And I'm going to give it a bendy antenna. Yoop. It's almost like a lightning bolt where it bends. And then maybe I'm going to do some like parentheses around it to make it look like it's sending out a signal or moving. Okay. Now, this robot up here ended up looking a little bit scarier than I wanted it to. It looked great until I like added in the like dots in the eyes and the like zigzags in the mouth, because I wanted to make it look like it was talking, and then it just looked like scary teeth. So, but usually with robots, you know, you can give them like an actual smile, or you can give them a little circle, or you could do that rectangle. I'm going to do the rectangle. I think I might kind of angle it up on the sides here, so it looks like my robot is smiling. Right, so I did like a little, almost like a little triangle up on the sides. Yeah, it looks like it's smiling. Usually if you have this rectangle, there's lines in it. There we go. All right. And then the eyes. So your eyes, you can choose if you want them to be circles, squares, triangles, what have you, if you want there to be 2 eyes, or you could have 1 eye. Alright, so I think I'm gonna do half circles. And I'm gonna have them angled upwards like this to make my robot look happy. If they were angled downwards, like a V, then my robot would start to look angry. So I'm gonna do a half circle. It actually makes him look kind of like he's a little scared. Oh well, that's okay. Shoot! Silly Miss Jenny. And I'm going to just do a dot inside of them, I think, this time. But in these ones, I did like a square. You could do other stuff too. And then, I think for fun, I'm going to give a few buttons on the face to make it look like it has a nose. Okay. So, now that I have my face done, you can pick and choose whatever kinds of details you want to give your robot. Maybe I'll do like some little antennas coming out of its ears. Pew. Like that. Okay, so then you want to choose your neck. This one up here, I did lines that went through it, but I did them a little bit curved to make the neck look round, like a cylinder, right? I think on this guy, I'm gonna do a fun neck. I'm gonna make it all windy. Yep. And I'm gonna make those curved again, so it looks like so. Okay. And then I like to add in the body, so you can decide what kind of body you want. I think I'm going to do mine as, this time I think I'm going to do more like a triangle shape. And I did mine just above the neck, so it looks like the neck is in it, but you can do it right on that top line too, that's okay. Okay. You want to decide if you want its body to keep going down from there, right? So like this one, I did this little square or rectangle, and I was like, that seems like a really big head and a tiny little body. So I decided to put what looks like a ball right in here so that they can like pivot around, and then these would be the hips, and then the rest would just go down off the page. Almost like one of those like Dyson vacuums, right, that has the ball so it can pivot around. And you can also decide if you want it to have, in the body, if you want there to be some kind of like door, or maybe on this one I'll do like a heart monitor. With zigzags that have that big peak, or like just some kind of reading. And maybe I'll do some buttons across the bottom. Right, you can also add in you could decide what kind of arms you want. This one I gave it some like wavy arms, like it's going woo. But you can do more straight arms, right? So maybe I want to have like arms come out like this. I'll have the other one kind of come up like that. You could do more like actual hands, right? So I did like a circle with the fingers on it. Or you could do it more like, let's see, I'm going to do a circle on the ends. And I think I'm going to do like a hook. Or almost like how you would see with Legos, where it's like that letter C. And maybe I'll make this one just more open. The claw. And then you want to decide, you know, again, if it's going to keep going down or if you're going to add in legs or whatnot. I think maybe I will do tires for mine, which are a little bit more tricky. It's like a long stretched oval, and then I didn't do that quite right, but it's a little bit curved at the bottom. Here, I'll do this one better. Long stretched oval, and then a line that kind of curves and goes across. So I got some tires. Maybe I'll do like zigzags for the tread to make it look more like tires. And a little dot in there. There we go. That's my guy. Right? You can get super creative with this, figure out what you want to do, all kinds of fun stuff. I think that in this one I didn't add in a ground because the bottom of my robot just went off the page. But if you can see the bottom of your robot, you could always add in like the ground. You want to do it just above where they would be touching the ground so that it looks like they're on it instead of like right at the edge. Because if they're right at the edge, sometimes it makes it look like they're about to like fall off a cliff. Okay. All right. So I'm going to set that aside. And then you can get creative with your coloring. Right? Do all kinds of colors. I did lots of grays in mine with some blues and oranges. I chose the blue and oranges because those are complementary colors. You could make it a rainbow. You could do more like grays and blacks and whites. And if you're using your oil pastels, there's like kind of a golden-y color that you could use. This like darker yellow looking color that's more like you can make that more like a golden-y. If you wanted to do gold on yours. Okay. And whatever other extra details you want to add, right? Or if you want there to be like panels where the metal goes together, right? You could have a line and then you could have little dots that go across for where the screws are to like attach it, kind of thing. Maybe I want to do some over here. Boop. It's reminding me more like a Frankenstein. You don't want to go too overboard. And there you have my Frankenstein robot. Okay, I'm going to stop while I'm ahead of myself. Less is more. Okay, I'm going to start coloring this. I'm going to pause while I start coloring because that way you guys don't have to just like sit there and stare at me coloring. But I like to leave the mouth white, but if you want to color it in, you can. And yeah, I think maybe I'll color it in this time. Let's see what happens. What it looks like. I think I'll do green, like a lime green. Okay, I'll be right back. You can go ahead and pause too. Alright, so here's my robot being colored. Alright, and when you're going in, you want to try and get rid of as much of that white as you can. If you have places where you still can see that white and you're using oil pastels, you can use your finger to kind of smudge it in. Blend it. It can be a little bit messy, so just watch out. If you do use a marker, you can just leave it. You can still see the black outline, or you can go in with black last. Alright, with oil pastels, black is always last. Okay, and I wanted my wheels to be like a dark gray, but I don't want them to be completely black because I still want to see that tread. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to see if I can combine some colors. So I'm going to press down real gentle with some gray, and then just really soft and gentle. I'm going to go in with some black. So gentle. I'm going to rub that in. There we go. So it's a darker gray than, the metal. Make it more of a tire. So you can still see some of that tread in there. Bam. If you want, you can go in and, if you have a ground or a background, you can decorate other things in the background. You can have your robot holding something, right? And you could do all kinds of robots. I figured I'd kind of go with the Frankenstein look and do lots of green. So it kind of turned out to look a little bit more like a Christmassy robot, but that's okay. Alright, so have fun with it. Send me some pictures when you're done. I'd love to see them. And happy drawing!